Covaxin. Now we are getting the Covaxin, and there are many doubts. There are many discussion among all of us or the medical fraternity that the phase 3 trial has not yet completed. Then the emergency certification has been made for the emergency use, and whether we are safe enough to accept this vaccination. We are not getting the confidence to get this vaccination to immunize myself. That is the thing, that we are not getting the confidence. So we'll have to develop the confidence. But how the confidence develops? You see, the confidence develops when we can see the data, we can see the phase 3 trial, and we can see that so many volunteers are going to accept this vaccine, and they have no side effects and nothing is there. So we can get the confidence. So confidence building in the vaccination program is a very important thing. Now, for this Covaxin, the phase 1 and phase 2 trial, about 380 each, one 375, and second phase is 380 person was vaccinated in the phase 1 and phase 2. The thing is that the side effect is similar to the Covaxin, Covishield. That is the injection site pain, that is the fever, that is the minor malaise, weakness, and all this lethargy and something associated with this. Most of this, it is my gut feeling, is associated with the apprehension, and that I will substantiate with the figure that in the first dose the side effect is much more than the second dose. Second dose, the side effects has been recorded is very, very less. It means that when you bold enough to get the first dose and your apprehension elevated, then second time after giving these things, the true things where anxiety component has been eliminated. Now there is some true actual, if it is there, then only it will be surfaced and it will be reported. So that's why with this only, the first dose and second dose trial, maybe I can conclude that there is only one thing I'm telling you, there's so many factors are there. That is one thing. Second thing is that whatever we have seen in this total vaccination program, we have seen that about 80% side effect has occurred in the female. And you see, normally we understand that is normally in any vaccination program also we have seen that some clustering, that is mass hysteria type of things are occurring among young and tender-aged girls, and that is also maybe happening in the males also. But normally it is girls are more susceptible because they are emotionally, they are very some emotional component is attributed to them also. But normally I'm not telling this is the gender bias, or it is not even gender bias, but it is the common findings that females are reporting more for their side effects, and they are a little bit apprehensive there maybe, but and the male's character, by the genetic character, they are bold enough, they are ignoring minor side effects and they don't report. That is also the thing. That is the thing I am telling, only two things. But the major thing is that first dose side effect is more than the second dose. That also can substantiate, it is my hypothesis, that the drug is safe, and the reactions are mostly due to the anxiety and fear. Because you see, the pain in the injection site, mostly due to fear, reeling, severing, like this. And within half an hour, they are all okay, and they are going back home with assurance, and they are doing well, very well in the home. And I'm telling that Covishield and Covaxin also, these two side effects is almost similar. And all the things, the experts are there, they will analyze these things in detail. But in the initial phase, I'm telling that we have to get the phase 3 trial, to get the data, to understand that what is the pros and cons of this vaccine. But another thing I'm telling is strong positive thing for the Covaxin is that the seroconversion is more than 90%, with the 92, 98% seroconversion, and that is very, very good than the Covishield. So that is also there. But the best thing is that the seroconversion rate is very high. But we will have to be more concerned about the immediate side effect or the long-term side effect. Long-term side effect we do not know because it is not tested for so long time. It is just recently started, and also the phase 3 trial has not completed. Now we will have to volunteer for the collection of the data in the phase 3 trial. So it is not in the name of the phase 3 trial, but partially it is tuned to some extent to get the collection of the data. The informed consent is there. The data collection will be there in the separate form. so that we can just analyze all the data and gather the data and gather this information. And throughout the India, in many states, it has already started, and no serious side effect has been recorded so far. So when it goes to the mass campaign, in the mass program, then we are getting the enough data, and across all age group, all sex, also we are getting the participants, and that's why the data, robust data, can be gathered immediately and in a quick time, and it can be established whether there is a side effect or not. So that's the thing. What I'm telling, we'll have to participate. We'll have to see that what is happening. We'll have to be bold enough, because you see, the phase 3 trial is also happening with the human only. It is not the monkey we are giving the vaccine and seeing the reaction. It is only the human volunteers who will have to come forward to get this phase 3 trial, to involve in the phase 3 trial, volunteer these things, and they will have to see these things. So now also, now is the vaccination is going on for the healthcare worker. Next phase, it will be for the police personnel or the security personnel, and then third phase, it will be the other executives, that people representative, and then the common people, particularly the older people. So now we will have to show our courage also in the vaccination program. What I, as a DHS, Director of Health Service, I am telling, that we have shown the enough courage. Our doctors, our sisters, hats off to them. They have gone to the extent, they have gone with the, okay, immediately they have taken the personal precaution. They know that they will have to wear the mask. The N95 mask was supplied ample. They were wearing the PPE. They are wearing the gloves or some, and also using the hand sanitizer. They were taking all the personal precaution very meticulously, but they were touching the patient. In the initial phase, when everybody was afraid, our doctors, our sisters, touching the patient, going to the patient, and treating the patient carefully. Very initial phase, it was some hesitancy was there, but immediately after some time, when they get the confidence, when they see that they can touch the patient and they cannot get the contamination, and also you see the infection rate among the ID hospital, in the MR Bangur, in the medical college, earlier it was better, very high, but nowadays it has come to very, very low, but they are taking the care with the very close proximity with the patient, going very close proximity to the patient. And they have gained the enough courage to fight this. So I expect that they will also show the similar courage to get this vaccination, because I am telling, so far the documents and so far the information we have accepted, that we have received, that is telling that there is not a major side effect. All these things is under control. Only thing that paper publication of the phase 3 trial could not be completed because phase 3 trial was not be completed. Only thing is there, that is the negative thing. But we'll have to participate in the phase 3 trial. It is not a phase 3 trial naming, but it's almost a similar type, like the informed consent, the follow-up, the specific follow-up, telephone call, all these things is associated with this. The expert will tell these things. I'm not taking much time. But the thing is that I know that our health staff are bold enough. They will come forward and they will take this participation of this vaccination program. Then Covaxin they will take, and they will establish that Covaxin is safe, and they will also show the world that how the healthcare worker come forward for any type of emergency and any situation demand their participations. With all these things, I'm just, the galaxies of speakers are there, so I'm just stopping it here. But I am very much expecting that we should understand that thing. What is the apprehension is there? We should clear up that thing, because the experts are there. They can answer all our questions. All the medical fraternities are participating here from the periphery also. They should raise their question in the chat box, and our experts will answer them. Let us take a consensus, informed decision that what we will do and how we will roll out this program. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Jyotirmoy.
Thank you, sir, for your nice introduction.
As I told you, I probably will present for about 20 minutes regarding the current vaccines, and then we can open up to questions.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah.
Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Ram, we can see. Yeah.
Okay, so there are a lot of myths and realities. I'm going to give you facts during this presentation for the next 20 minutes. Now, this is how we were welcoming 2021. You can see all of us are waiting for our shots to see whether we will get better and the pandemic will be out of the way. But what happened is, when we asked, what do you want a vaccine? Yes. When do we want it? As soon as possible, but the vaccine is ready. All of us are having misgivings. That was too fast. We don't trust the vaccine. And this is the same scenario in all parts of India. I have no financial disclosures, though I have received speaker honorariums and other advisory board fees and consultant fees. With regard to this lecture, I have no conflict of interest. Now, the good news is COVID cases are coming down in India. There is no doubt about it that the number of cases we see have significantly come down. We still see, at least in Chennai, the occasional case, but it is not yet completely eradicated. And I think there is a possibility of a second wave. How severe, how bad in magnitude, we don't know. But personally, I think we will be seeing a second wave in various parts of the country soon. Now, it has been shown that the only way we can eradicate an infection like this is if we have access to vaccines. There are three conditions necessary for stopping the pandemic. One, we should have a diagnostic test for the infection, which we have. Two, we need a vaccine, which we have got. And three, there should be no animal vector where the virus can hide. Even though in the minks of Scandinavia, there was recently an outbreak saying that they were harboring these viruses. Fortunately, there is no significant sanctuary animal reservoir which can prolong this. And so far, we are en route to control or eradicate this pandemic. If you look at the vaccines, there are four types of vaccines. The viral vector vaccine, which basically uses a harmless virus which is altered to contain a part of the COVID-19 genetic code. And this is basically the Covishield, or the chimpanzee adenovirus vector vaccine, which contains a part of the COVID antigen producing, spike antigen producing genetic code, which is injected, which goes inside and then creates antigens of spike protein against which the body forms antibodies. The second type of vaccine are the mRNA vaccine, which contains a synthetic version of the same genetic code. Now, this enters the human cell, and please remember that this cannot enter the nucleus. This doesn't enter the nucleus or take charge of the genetic code of the human nucleus. It is only in the cytoplasm where it produces the spike antigen, and then the body responds to it. The third type of vaccine is the whole virus vaccine, or a weakened or inactivated version. The Covaxin from the Bharat Biotech is the whole virus vaccine. This is a platform which has stood the test of time. We have several vaccines created on the same mechanism, and they have all shown to be very, very safe and effective. Whereas the mRNA vaccines, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, is an entirely new concept, but they are also showing good effectiveness. The last type of or platform for vaccine is the protein subunit vaccine, which uses pieces of the COVID-19 virus fragments, either natural or recombinant, which can trigger the antigen and induce the body to produce antibodies. So these are the four main types of vaccines, and all these are coming into the core right now. This picture very clearly illustrates the virus. There is a spike protein, the membrane protein, the genomic RNA, the nucleocapsid protein, and the envelope protein. And these are the various vaccines. The spike protein-based vaccines are predominantly the Covishield, which are viral vector-based. Covishield, CanSino, and the Sputnik, the Gamaleya Institute, the Russian Sputnik vaccine. The protein subunit is from Novavax. mRNA is Moderna and Pfizer. And inactivated whole virus vaccine. Please remember, this is not a live vaccine. This is inactivated. The Covaxin comes under this cadre. The various classifications of vaccines I will skip, and this also I will skip. Normally, the reason why we have in this situation less faith is because we believe that the vaccine has been manufactured very, very rapidly. The normal course of events takes about 10 to 15 years from the exploratory to the preclinical to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 studies to review and approval, and manufacturing can take anywhere from 8 to 15 years. But in the case of COVID, the pandemic, there has been development of vaccines with what we call as warp speed. And they have several organizations and several governments which have collaborated to shorten this. So the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 have all somehow overlapped and run in parallel. And they've already started the manufacture even during phase 2 or phase 3 stages. so that we have been able to come out with a vaccine in a year's time. Please remember, this does not compromise the safety of the vaccine. We are yet to understand the full efficacy of the vaccine, but this vaccines, as far as studies and trials are available, and also authorized licensed vaccine which has already been given is available, are very, very safe vaccines. Some questions I would like to answer before we go on to talk about the vaccine. One is, how long does the B cell immunity last after a natural infection? For the SARS and the MERS, it was believed to last for about 2 years. For the seasonal coronaviruses, the colds which we get, the virus induces a B cell immunity for a few months to a year. You can get reinfection after that, but generally these reinfections are milder. For SARS-CoV-2, it is shown that the immunity is reasonably safe for 5 to 6 months. But what we cannot quantify is the T cell immunity, which may last long term, and we don't know much about it yet. If you look at the persistence of antibodies after vaccination, for vaccines like hepatitis A and measles, it lasts several decades, 25 to 65 years, and polio 40 years. Rubella 14, yellow fever 75, coronavirus, generally there is no licensed vaccine, but about 12 months it lasts. Flu, it starts waning after 12 months, but it can last for 24 to 30 months. For rotavirus, about 12 months. But for COVID, we can only say that we have information or evidence which says it lasts at least 5 to 6 months so far after vaccination. All current intramuscular vaccines may give short-term protection, and we are not sure how long, what is the quantum of antibodies needed to prevent infection, and whether by taking the vaccine, we will be able to protect against only severe disease or prevent transmission of infection. We are still not sure. Mucosal route is an attractive option, and there is also a possibility that the SARS-CoV-2 may slowly metamorphosize into a flu-like illness, which is not an epidemic or a pandemic, but it has periodic spikes, and we may require annual vaccination. Before we talk about the vaccines, we also need to understand two terms. One is the efficacy and the other is effectiveness. Efficacy is the degree to which a vaccine prevents the disease and possible transmission, but under ideal or controlled circumstances. That is typically what is done in the studies. So based on phase 3 studies, we can say the efficacy of the vaccine is 94% or 72%, whereas effectiveness refers to how well the vaccine helps protect against the disease in the real world, because there are a lot of factors which cannot be controlled, whether the people are taking the vaccines properly, on time, taking the booster, what about underlying illness, the age of the patient, and whether the vaccine is stored and administered properly. All these also play a role in deciding the effectiveness. So the effectiveness quite often tends to be lesser than the efficacy, which is seen during studies in phase 3 stages. And lastly, a word about herd immunity. This cartoon says that if everybody else gets a flu shot, I won't need one because there won't be anybody to catch it from. Herd immunity is something like this, not entirely catch it from, because there are immune people in the community, they may protect. The number of susceptible people may be too far and few within the community for the virus to spread rapidly. Now, I'm going to spend 2 or 3 slides, a novel synthetic mRNA, which is encoded and put in a lipid nanoparticle. Polyethylene glycol is also associated, and this encodes for the mRNA encodes and produces viral spike protein, but this happens in the cytoplasm. So this does not take control of the host genome. It has been shown that the adverse events are minimal, mainly fever and myalgia. Some people have systemic events in terms of fever, and especially within 7 days it happens. So please remember, if up to 7 days, generally most of the reactions happen within the first half an hour. The anaphylaxis, which is believed to be 10 times higher than compared to the incidence of anaphylaxis in general regarding vaccines, what we have known so far, the mRNA, both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines have a 10 times higher incidence of anaphylaxis, which happens within 15 to 30 minutes. There is no contraindication for allergy to other things. If you have had an allergy to vaccines in the past, that is a contraindication, but allergy to sulfur or allergy to penicillin or allergy to other foodstuffs is not a contraindication, but you should be prepared to spend at least half an hour post-vaccination in the event you developed an anaphylaxis. But so far, nobody has died. There have been a few cases, but they have all been resuscitated well. 4 cases of Bell's palsy have been shown, but these are not known to be associated with the vaccine. They were probably coincidental. What is more worrying is the stringent cold chain requirement for these mRNA vaccines. The Pfizer needs about -70 degrees. It has to be thawed and used within 30 minutes. If it is kept in the refrigerator up to 120 hours, 5 days, it can be kept. In summary, the Pfizer vaccine has a 2-dose regimen, generally 21 days apart, 52% effective after the first dose, about 95% effective after the second dose. There is concern about anaphylaxis, stringent cold chain requirement, and it is not yet got authorization in India. The second mRNA vaccine is the Moderna vaccine, also shows very good efficacy, 94.1%, and similar rates of anaphylaxis has been seen. But this also requires a cold chain requirement of -25 to -15, so cannot be stored in the ordinary refrigerator. This can be kept for a little longer in the refrigerator, 2 to 8 degrees for up to 30 days prior to use. But once opened, it has to be discarded within 6 hours. The Moderna vaccine is 94% effective. Similarly, 1 dose gives about 50% efficacy. Some Bell's palsy cases have been seen. There is a claim that it has some protection against asymptomatic infection also, but this requires stringent cold chain requirement. And for Pfizer vaccine and maybe for Moderna vaccine, they are considering a longer interval rather than 3 weeks, up to 3 months. A longer interval is believed to have similar or sometimes, in fact, a better immunological effect. The third vaccine is the Oxford vaccine. This was developed by Oxford and AstraZeneca and has been produced by Serum Institute in India using the chimpanzee adenovirus, which contains a small segment base of RNA based on the surface spike to produce the surface spike glycoprotein antigen. The side effects, 1 case of hemolytic anemia has been seen. A case of transverse myelitis was reported, but then subsequently the chance that this was related or causally related to the vaccination has been ruled out. Potentially, there were some serious adverse events up to 2 days after the vaccination in South Africa, where he developed a high fever. There were 4 non-COVID-19 deaths reported in vaccine cases, vaccine studies, but all unrelated to the vaccine. Death due to road traffic accident, blunt force homicide, and fungal pneumonia, which was believed not to be caused by the vaccination, but were reported as serious adverse events. The Covishield efficacy is lesser than the Pfizer vaccine, about 70.4, but it is believed that if the first dose is lesser than the second dose, that is, you give half the first dose and then the second dose, the efficacy can be as high as 90%. And as I said, we are looking at 12 weeks for the Pfizer, for the Oxford vaccine also in United Kingdom to see whether they give a better immune response. The next one is a Sputnik or the Gamaleya vaccine, which is also an adenovirus vector vaccine. This is now being manufactured by Reddy's Laboratories, and they may come into authorization soon after phase 3 studies. From China, we have the CanSino, which is an adenovirus vector, the Sinovac, which is an inactivated whole virus like the Covaxin from Bharat Biotech, the Sinopharm, which is an inactivated vaccine. All of them have shown very good efficacy, 86%, 79%. And this is the reason why we feel that the Covaxin, even though there is no phase 3 study evidence still publicized, we feel that it is a very safe vaccine which has stood the test of time for several other vaccines, and it is believed that there is no reason to suspect that it will be less efficacious. So this cartoon was going around in the social media saying even before the clinical trials were completed, the vaccine has been authorized. But I think when faced with the pandemic, during difficult times, difficult decisions have to be made. And I would fully support the reason the government has come up. As I said, this has stood the test of time. It is one of the safest vaccines available. It is less expensive, and there is no reason to suspect yet that it should be inferior. So we have to wait till the decision comes out. But the data is very promising. No safety concerns, can be stored very easily between 2 and 8 degrees. And that is the reason the emergency use authorization was given. And I have no reason to strongly criticize this act by the government. Lastly, the DNA vaccine, which is produced using the DNA sequence. This was for the West Nile vaccine, and similar is on the anvil by the Johnson company. And then the Zydus Cadila vaccine is also using a DNA-based technology. Phase 2 studies is are expected, are going on, and this can stay stable in room temperature. So this is the Indian landscape of vaccines. You know about the Covaxin, the Covishield, the Zycov-D, Sputnik, recombinant protein, and several other vaccines, which will be hopefully out in the open in the next few months. This is a brief slide to compare the various vaccines. Efficacy is about 62 to 90 with the Covishield, 95% with Moderna and Pfizer, and Sputnik is also 92%, which is similar to the Oxford vaccine. And the cost you will see is variable across these various type of vaccines. So there is a lot of vaccine optimism. I grew up reading Amar Chitra Kathas when I was young. The Puranic tales of hope and delusion is extending to vaccines also. The WHO has come out with phase 1 and phase 2, phase 3 recommendation based on the availability of vaccine. For example, if it is available only for 10% of the population, you go with phase 1, phase 2 is for 10 to 20, and phase 3 for 21 to 50% of vaccine availability. There is always some recommendation that if you prolong the duration between the two vaccines, you may be able to vaccinate more people so that more people can benefit quickly. Now, one thing is very clear. The vaccine is needed to eradicate the pandemic, and the sooner we take the vaccine, the better that we will get the disease under control and maybe prevent or abort a second wave. So the Government of India proposal based on the availability is stage 1A and 1B, initially healthcare workers and then elderly people with comorbidities. Then stage 2, when the vaccine availability is more, go for people who are 50 to 65 and also younger people with comorbidities. And stage 3, when the vaccine surplus is available. So the way the government has been handling, I think, is very commendable so far. As I said, even though we don't have proof of pudding for the Covaxin, there is no reason to suspect otherwise. We need to register and get it done. Hopefully in the next few weeks, it should be available. So the take-home message is, take the vaccine as soon as it is available and recommend the vaccine to all high-risk groups. If you have had the infection within the previous 3 months, there is a possibility you can wait, but I don't think this is a contraindication. You don't need to check the antibodies. Go ahead and take the vaccines. All the vaccines currently licensed, whether for emergency or otherwise, are very safe. Avoid for those with history of anaphylaxis to any product of the vaccine, but not anaphylaxis to other drugs or other food substances. You have to be cautious, but it is not an absolute contraindication. Give it alone, preferably give a 7 to 14-day gap between this vaccine and any other vaccine. Status-wise, the mRNA vaccine have the best efficacy data, and next is AstraZeneca. But this Bharat Biotech Covaxin is very safe, but we still, evidence-wise, we still waiting. Long-lasting immunity may not result, and we may need periodic annual boosters is my take on this. We have to wait and see. I would like to acknowledge all my team members who have helped me form this presentation, and looks like if Mona Lisa can take it, definitely all of us can too.